Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. A couple of things before we get into the video. It looks kind of dark back here. I just got back home from working on a client. One of the lights that I use back here is my makeup light, which is what I use on my clients. And so I didn't feel like taking it out and putting it up because I have another one in the morning. So I just didn't want to deal with it. So it might look a little bit dark. I'm always in a black shirt. Again, just got back from a client, didn't feel like changing. You know, we're just gonna go with the flow in this video because I needed to get it filmed, and this is the only time that I have to do that. But today we are going to be doing my updated top 5 concealers video. We're gonna be talking only about under eye concealers. I'm not gonna talk about concealers for the face. Quite honestly, I don't particularly use them on my own face. I don't have much that I need to spot conceal. I do use them in my kit, but we're just going to talk about under eye concealers today. So as always, I like to tell you how many concealers I have so you know how easy or hard it was for me to narrow it down to the 5 that I chose. I do have 25 concealers currently in my concealer drawer. So I had to pick, a fifth of them. And I always like to put this disclaimer out on my top 5 videos. When I go to film these videos, I think of my top 5 concealers at the moment. Whereas if for some reason I had to get rid of every single one of my concealers but 5 of them, these are the ones that as of today I would choose to keep. That does not mean that if I have not talked about a concealer, or that if I have talked about a concealer in the past and really liking it, that I don't still like it. If for some reason I fell out of love with a concealer, I would tell y'all in a favorites video as part of a fails that I don't love it anymore. So if I have said that I like it, I still like it. These are just the ones that I would choose at this time, on this day, if someone asked me to. I also like to go back, since this is an update, to the original video and tell you what were my top 5s the last time I filmed this, which was on May 31st of 2017. Wow, it's been almost exactly a year. Okay, so the 5 that I mentioned were the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, Amazing Cosmetics Amazing Concealer, Lancome Tint Idol Ultra Camouflage Concealer, Lancome Everseren's Waterproof Concealer, and Tarte Shape Tape. Y'all, none of them made top 5 this time. I still love every single one of them. The only one that I may not repurchase for myself is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, only because out of all of those, it's the one I liked the least. It still made my top 5, so I still really like it. And the MAC Pro Longwear, the Lancome Tint Idol Ultra Camouflage, and the Lancome Everseren's Waterproof are all in my kit. So again, I'm not talking about kit concealers today. I'm just talking about personal ones. Still love those. Obviously, I'm not going to put anything on a client that I don't love on myself, or at least that I don't love on other people that I've tried and tested. So obviously I still do love those concealers. It's just not ones that I use on myself. All right, let's actually get into the concealers. I do have 5. Okay, I have 6, but I have 4 liquid concealers, 1 cream concealer, and 1 powder concealer, which I never ever would have thought that a powder concealer would make it into my top 5, but alas, it has. So let's just go ahead and get started. I am not going to go in any particular order, except I will save my very favorite for last. Let's go ahead and talk about the liquid concealers, and then we'll talk about the powder and cream, and then my favorite, which is the liquid. So the first one I'm going to talk about is actually drugstore. It's the only drugstore that I'm going to be talking about, and it is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage High... I've got my fan on and I just got hair in my lip gloss. High coverage concealer. Okay, so it comes in a package like this. I will have the price and everything listed below, but that is it. You can see how much I've used. It's actually way below that. I've used half of it already. It is waterproof. I love the coverage. Basically, the reason I'm talking about any of these is because they don't crease on me and I like the coverage. Those are the 2 main things that I care about the most. I would say this has between a medium and full coverage. The one downside, and it's a very large downside, it's even a downside to me because I'm not really wearing this that much now that I'm starting to get a little bit more color on my skin, because this is the color 20 Light Beige, and honestly, I don't think they have a darker color than this. My hands are all swatched up for my client, so sorry, but That's 20 light beige, and that's light. Like, there are some foundations I wear now that I don't feel comfortable wearing this with because it's so bright under the under eyes, and I just don't really love that look on myself. But if you do like super bright under eye, then you'll like this color. Or if you are more fair than me, but they have 3 colors. I think it's absolutely atrocious, and that's the main bad reviews that I see are about the color range. So Catrice, I know you're not watching this, but if anybody has a cousin that works for Catrice, let them know that they really need to expand this color range, because other than that, I absolutely love the concealer. I'm trying to think if I've even used this next one in a tutorial before. I don't even think I've talked about it in a favorites. I kept meaning to, but I didn't. You're going to be able to see it only has about a third of the bottle left, but this is the Dior Skin Forever Undercover Concealer. So it comes in this nice frosted packaging. You can see how much I've used. It's a square. This is in the color, oh y'all, linen. It's in the color linen. Has a regular doe foot, just like the Catrice. Very similar color to the Catrice. Again, this is a little bit lighter than I tend to go for in the summer, but that is it right there. So that's the Catrice, and that's the Dior. I'm not a huge fan of the Dior Forever Foundation, like everybody else and their mama seems to be, but I really enjoy the concealer. It's probably, I would say, a medium coverage, and it really blends out nicely, but it doesn't, you don't blend away coverage, because I know a lot of times concealers will go on medium or even full, and then once you start blending them out, especially with a damp sponge, the coverage kind of goes away. This one keeps the coverage as you blend it out, and again, it doesn't crease. They do have a much wider range of colors for this concealer, so it's a little bit on the pricier side because it is Dior, but it is one that I would repurchase. Honestly, all of these I will likely repurchase when I run out. So Dior Skin Forever Undercover. This one will probably not come as a big surprise because I feel like I have used it in quite a bit of tutorials, but this is the Charlotte Tilbury Retoucher Conceal and Treat Stick. So this one is going to be more of a light to medium coverage. It does have a brush applicator. So it's reminiscent of like the Touche Éclat, but the Touche Éclat is not a concealer. It is a brightener and highlighter pen. This could be a brightener and highlighter pen. However, I find that I really like the coverage for, oh, I just got it everywhere, for lightweight foundation days. And the color is perfect for me in the summer. So this is number 3 medium. So you can see how much darker that is than that. But in the summer, when I wear darker foundations and I have more sun on me, more color to my skin, it works perfectly. And I also have number 3, an additional number 3 and number 2 in my kit, because for people that want really natural makeup or who don't have a ton of stuff to cover, even though I do find this covers well over a corrector, this works perfectly for them. It pairs really well with all the foundations that I use, but especially with lighter weight foundations. Obviously the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder, I love to use those two together. So again, this is the Charlotte Tilbury Retoucher Conceal and Treat Stick. This is also what I will use when I don't wear a foundation. So I believe in the 2 videos I've done where I don't wear foundation and makeup looks using no foundation, this is the concealer that I've used because it is so natural and flawless under the eyes. I really should have gotten some of these swatches off my hands before I came up to film. Okay, so the next concealer is actually a cream concealer, but it is in a stick form. It's probably the newest one to my collection, and it is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Concealer Sticks. These just recently came out. I have used this in a look before. I'm not a huge fan of cream concealers, but this one and the Hint Beauty pot concealer are really good for cream. You can see how much I've used of this one already. This is in the color 5 Light Medium Neutral, so I'm going to swatch that one real quick next to the Charlotte Tilbury. They're very, very, very creamy, but they're not too emollient to where they're going to slip and slide. I do find that you could probably even get away with not setting these, although I still do. I also went back and got the Bare Minerals Bare Pro, duh, I'm talking about that, in the medium neutral number 8. I got this for my face, and I know I said, and when swatched, they really don't look that different. I know that I said I don't spot conceal my face, and I don't, but when I wear really lightweight foundations like the Complexion Rescue, sometimes I want to cover up a little bit more redness, and so I will go in with something like this, and I will take a brush and just kind of take the brush over the concealer versus putting it straight on my skin, and then just kind of buff it in my skin. It's the most natural look. And they don't look different on my skin, but they are different. So that's number 5, light to medium neutral, and that's number 8, medium neutral. So again, they work great on the face, they work great under your eyes, and they work great as an eye primer. This light medium 05, before I got another eye primer that I'll talk about in my favorites, I was using this almost every day to prime my eyes as well. Super, super blendable, super creamy, but they stay put. This next concealer is also from Bare Minerals, and it is the powder concealer I'm going to talk about. And it is the Bare Minerals concealer in Summer Bisque. Now, I have tried Well Rested a long time ago. I used it to set my concealer, not as an actual concealer. And this is kind of the way I use this too. So I'm just going to show you. This is a double-ended brush that came with it because I got it in a set on QVC. Surprise, surprise. This is the Soft Focus Face and Eye Brush. So I'll just take a little bit. This is more of like a touch-up concealer for me. So halfway through the day, if I've got somewhere I need to be and I feel like my concealer's kind of rubbed off a little bit, I will put a little bit in the cap, swirl, tap, swirl, tap, buff, tap, buff, tap it out, and then I'll just kind of go really in my troughs and touch up. So it does not disturb the concealer that's already there or even the powder that I've used to set my concealer, but I don't know, it just kind of amps it up a little bit, gives more coverage, and is really good as a touch-up. So this is my favorite touch-up concealer throughout the day. And finally, we are down to my absolute favorite concealer of all time, hands down. Literally have gone back to this for the past 6 months. Over and over and over again. I will travel with it and only it, and it has lasted me forever. This is the Stellar Concealer. I got this, and I even did a first impression. I don't even know what I said about it in my first impression. I don't think it was the best. I don't think I slammed it, but I don't think it was like, oh, go out and buy this concealer right now. I kind of put it away in the back of my drawer. I was using other things for a ton of time. And then I was like, you know what? I need to use it because it's coming up on its year mark. And typically I'll let concealers go for about 18 months before I throw them out. The second I put it on after finding it in my drawer, I didn't stop using it. I did not stop using it. This is in the color S01, which I think is light medium. This is a very yellow toned concealer. They do have other colors, but I've not seen them in person. But that's it right there, S01. So you can see, if you can see, it's got a little bit of a yellow undertone to it. But that works for my skin because I do have yellow undertones to my skin. I do have this concealer on today. There is not a concealer in this video that I've talked about. There's not a concealer in my drawer that lasts as long without creasing on me and looks as flawless as it does and keeps the coverage throughout the day as this concealer. Hands down, the best one I have really yet to try. Now, it's been a long time since I put the Lancome Everseers on myself personally. I absolutely love it on clients. This is a close second to that, if it doesn't tie, because it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's never talked about. I don't ever hear anyone talk about the Stellar Concealer. From what I remember, it's got okay reviews. Let me actually look it up real quick. So it's $27. I probably already put that on. It does only have 6 shades, which is a huge downside. 36 reviews, 4.5 stars. 23 5 stars, and only 1 star. Let me see what this 1 star said about. Well, it doesn't let me do that. It's not like Amazon. I can't hit the star and see what that is. But really, possible holy grail, about time, buy it. Now, Stellar is a line that is specifically geared towards medium skin tones. So you're not going to find one that's super fair or super dark, unfortunately, but that's the whole brand as a whole is based off the medium skin tones. For some reason, I want to hear someone said that it's because they feel like medium skin tones are left out. That's a crock, because medium skin tones are not left out, but it might be the undertones too, because I do believe these pull more yellow to olive. Best concealer ever. Amazing, almost undetectable on the skin, and that's why, again, I love it, because you don't feel like you have concealer on. Shade range only for medium tones, that's the one. So it has nothing to do with the formula, it's a shade range. Must have concealer for women of color. Would be great if they had a broader skin tone range. So you get the gist. But if you are in that range, definitely try the Stellar Concealer. If for some reason you're not in that range, any of the other 4 that I talked about are amazing concealers, and I highly recommend them. Again, if I had to choose a favorite, it would be the Stellar Concealer. Those are my top 5 concealers for under eyes. Isn't it, what a difference a year makes, that none of my top 5 from last year made it into this year, but again, I still love them, just half of them live in my kit. So, as always on my favorites videos, I want to know what your all-time favorite concealer is down in the comment section below. If you've tried the ones I talked about, how you like them, how you didn't like them, I just want to know. I just want to know. I just want to chat, so let me know. I believe I only have primers, and that might be it, because really the mascaras haven't changed that much. I might do a mascaras. That's it. Primers and mascaras. And then we're all done with the updates. Oh my goodness. So hopefully this helped you in some form or fashion, or like I always say, at least was entertaining. I hope. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.